And joining me now, the chairman of the committee leading today's hearing, Republican Congressman Randy Neugebauer of Texas. Mr. Chairman, good to have you with us. John Corzine saying explicitly that fund transfers, as far as he knew, were altogether legal and appropriate. Your thoughts?
Well, I mean, that's been consistently his story, but I think one of the things we're beginning to see now is that more and more of information is being gathered, and that we're trying to figure out when he knew some of these things and what validation he was using to make that assertion, because one of the things we still don't have is the money. I think what we're learning is there was a lot of transfers in those last days and hours, and what now everybody, the regulators and the investigators, are trying to sort out is how much of that money belonged to those segregated accounts and how much was in their account. I think the point that we need to make here, Lou, is that this company knew they had liquidity problems, and the fact that they had these resources to start trying to make these margin calls, somebody along the way had to say, hey, we can't be doing this. We've got to identify who that person was.
The compliance officers, the chief financial officer, the chief operating officer, the CEO himself, the exchange, the relevant exchange in this case, the CME, the Commodity Futures Trading Commission. Where were all these folks in those final days of this company when it was clear to anyone, it should have been, it seems at least, clear to anyone in that company's management or a counterparty or dealing with them that they were in real trouble?
Well, those were the other two issues that we wanted to accomplish in this hearing today. One was what was going on within the corporate culture, and secondly, what was going into the regulatory.
Right.
I think what we're learning about the corporate culture is that internal control was very weak in this company, and that to trading risk that the chief executive officer was taking. He was also the chairman, but he's also one of their largest traders, and so there was no firewall for investors and in this situation, and I think that obviously led to the demise of this company.
And, you know, I guess it could be inferred that that John Corzine effectively offered up the Chicago operations staff for your scrutiny in all of this. Did you take it that way, and will you follow up on it?
Well, absolutely. This is going to be a very broad investigation. We have a lot of letters out. We've been interviewing a lot of people. We're going to be talking to a lot more people, because it's important here, Lou, is to figure out what happened here. Because what we don't want to have is this kind of situation to happen in the future. So we need to identify where the breakdowns were. Once we identify where the breakdowns are, we can figure out, what the solutions are. Did we have regulators that weren't doing their job? Was there a corporate culture there that just encouraged bad behavior? We need to find out all of those things.
And let's go to one other aspect of this, and that is the idea that the Commodity Futures Trading Commission seems, they have said at least, from various sources within the CFTC, including the commission itself, the commissioners themselves, that they now know where the money went. How much of it is, do you believe they have a clear idea as to how much of that money is still intact for the clients whose money was commingled by MF Global?
And that's the most important question. I think what they've identified is they've traced these wire transfers, and so I think they know where these wire transfers went. I think what they have to now dissect is whose money that was being transferred, and is there some reclaim for these farmers and ranchers to get some of their money back, because some of these transfers were illegal.
And going to another funding issue, a much bigger one with a very close deadline, do you think you've got a deal that's going to stick on funding the government, the mega bus, and do you believe that the Senate, do you have the indication that we're going to see a deal done here?
Well, I've been in this hearing all day, so
right.
I haven't been really following what the negotiations are. I think it's better for us to pass a bill than to go to another CR. These CRs, is not the way that Congress should be doing their business.
Right.
And so if we can reach a reasonable agreement, I think we should go ahead and put the spending bills to bed, because when we get back, Lou, from the holidays, and we got to start this process all over again, developing a budget and also starting these appropriation process all over again. We don't need to be still doing last year's business.
Well said, Congressman. As always, thanks for being with us. We appreciate it. Chairman Congressman Randy Neugebauer. Up next, a unique perspective on the White House Solyndra scandal. Washington